Hey guys, alright, so this is going to be a very quick promotional video just going over my fabric materials part 2 package. And honestly, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that showed so much support for part 1 and for even sending me images and showing me how you're using my materials with your garments or your blankets and your carpets. It's just really awesome to see you guys putting these fabric materials to use. That's why I designed them in the first place. It was for myself, but also for you guys, just to make your life a little bit easier and so that you have access to a really awesome library of high quality 4K tileable fabric materials. So the awesome thing about part 2 is that I've actually created completely new materials. Now every material is unique, but by what I mean by new materials, I mean there's actually a completely new type of material that I've included here, and that is transparent materials. So these materials actually have an opacity channel, opacity material combined that's utilized with these materials. So that means that these materials are going to have transparency. So for materials like lace or anything where there's transparency involved, it really comes in handy to have that opacity channel, opacity material. As you can see, I did that here as well with this torn fabric, and I spent a lot of time creating these, and I just had a lot of fun doing it as well. So there's going to be a combination of materials that were created by scanning them. So materials like this, like the acoustic carpet. Oh, and that's another thing. These materials in part 2 are actually named, because some people actually asked me before, like, what type of material am I actually looking at? So I made sure that when I actually went to the fabric factory this time, I asked them what every material was. So you'll see some of them are named, and then ones that are named as experimental are materials I created completely from scratch within Substance Designer, and maybe using some of the scanned materials, like maybe if I scanned a knit pattern and I really like that normal map, I would combine it with one of the experimental materials, and just having fun and creating really cool looking fabric materials. So yeah, these ones were scanned, and again, everything is completely tileable, so you don't have to worry about seeing any seams or anything like that. You just plop it onto your object and it's good to go. So like I said, I've got some scanned ones over here, and then wherever you see experimental, that means that it was created completely from scratch within Substance Design. And here you can see this is also using the opacity as well, so that we've got a nice transparent material. This is good for netting, or like I said, lace. So yeah, part 2 has some completely new materials that I'm really happy to share with you guys, and I hope you find these useful as well. Now in part 1, I actually did a very quick guide showing you how I'm setting up these materials in Cinema 4D and using them in Substance Painter. So I would recommend you guys go and check that video out if you want to see how I'm setting that up. But for some of you guys who's actually got their hands on this pack, I'm sure, okay, I probably shouldn't assume, but maybe you know how to already set up materials like this. If you don't, I'll just show you quickly how I'm setting up basic material, and this time I'll be doing one that actually uses the opacity channel. And you'll notice some of these also have a specular. That was also a new material that I added in. Some have the metallic specular, but let's set up this one with opacity. So here in Cinema 4D, I'll go to Diffuse, and I'm using Octane Render, but again, this can be used in a multitude of different programs. Go to your Diffuse or base color, whatever it's called in your 3D program. I'm going to go create an image texture, and I'm going to drag in my base color here by Diffuse. For roughness, I'm going to drag in my roughness over here. I'm actually going to put this on glossy, because if that's not on glossy, that roughness is not going to work as intended. The normal, so again, another image texture, drag in my normal, and then let's drag in this awesome opacity mask for our fabric over here. So there we go, opacity, and now if I click on render, I'll see this material is good to go. So that's just very quickly, just for maybe anyone who's also a complete beginner and they don't know where to connect these materials. Now over here, what's actually happening is This material is actually overlaying a previous material, so I need to make sure that I'm deleting what was there previously so I can see this material properly. So that's another thing, you can actually overlay opacities on top of other materials, but that's not the purpose for what I'm trying to do here. I just want to show you how this is set up, and then if we look carefully, let that render, but you can see we've got this nice mesh or netting which creates this nice micro detail for this fabric, which I think looks very, very nice as well in the renders. So that's just very quickly how I'm setting up these shaders over here. But again, I recommend watching part 1, where I go over basically very similar stuff, but I also cover Substance Painter in that one as well. Alright, anyway guys, thank you so much for the support. I hope you find these materials useful. Now there's quite a lot of them. If you've got your hands on part 1 and part 2, you got quite a lot of materials that you guys can play around with. And obviously I've included some documentation here on how to use these materials in even in Keyshot. And then over here is the folder that has all of the Substance Painter materials. But again, if you check out the README file, I'll tell you exactly where to place these files. But anyway guys, thank you so much for the support. I had a lot of fun creating these materials, and I think they look really good. I'm currently using them with my garments, but again, you can use it with anything from clothing to environment stuff, whether it's blankets, pillows, carpets, anything that you think it would look good on. So yeah, have fun with these materials guys. Enjoy the new opacity materials like the lace and the netting. And yeah, if you got any questions, feel free to message me. And thank you so much for the support, and always stay tuned for some more tutorials and resources. Thank you and goodbye.